Hello, everybody. It just occurred to me that I was talking for like 5 minutes. Talking for like 5 minutes about what I'm doing, and now I have to start from scratch because I didn't realize this is actually my first official live I think that I've ever done. I've always like shied away from the live stuff because I don't really think of myself as like really of a quick-witted person that's able to kind of improv off the. I mean, I like improvisation. Like but if you're watching this to who the however many subscribers you have, 600 little handful of subscribers that might be watching. If you are, hello, how are you? If you guys, I don't know, if you like what you hear or whatever, or if you, I'm used to basically, see, I can, I am sick too. I am still overcoming this weird sickness, so I have like a kind of a weird head cold. It feels like a cold all over my body. At some point, I had a sore throat, but now I thought I was over it. It's been going for like almost a week now since Easter, if you can imagine that. And I couldn't figure out what it was that made me. I hope it's not like something that bad. I don't think it's like COVID or anything like that. I mean, if it was, you'd think I would have built up immunity because I had it a couple times. The second time we had it was like very kind of negligible compared to the first one where I was like out for a good couple weeks. But I do have a, excuse my phone. I do have a some kind of weird sickness where I feel kind of headachy, compressed, or congested rather, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I kind of almost exhausted the kind of creative juices I had. Not all of them, just because I don't know. I usually I don't know. I sit down. I try to just do no more than 10 minutes each little memo, just to make it easier on me, on you guys, so you guys I'm not bombarding. But the reason is that you guys see why the thumbnails for my odd 1,000 videos. Not saying that's even something I've been proud of, just because I've been barking out all this content. It's not necessarily, it's clearly quantity over quality, I guess, because the stuff I'm pumping out is mostly just a lot. I can sit here and I can just do like, something that, like that can extend into a 20-minute improvisation, and I can cluster those things up and I can pump out. If I wanted to, I could like upload, and I have, 5 or 6, even 10 videos, but they're not like videos, they're just, I'm too, sometimes I'll like kind of like just signify where I am. I'm like, okay, well, I'm sitting in front of the piano in this room here. And it's, but yeah, like most of that stuff I just kind of put the camera, because my voice memo app actually is actually quite, I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah. The Roman candle thing I did, that I was trying to make at least, I did like an idea of having a covers album of strictly just covers of songs that I like, and there's obviously artists that I'm a little bit more partial to, like Elliott Smith, and a lot of the stuff I kind of do that because I'm not really, I've noticed that even though that kind of stuff, like, something by Elliott Smith might be really pretty push. because I notice the stuff that I do, I tend to get too carried away if I'm just doing like a sit down on the piano improvisation, or if I do stuff like I don't know, I tend to like behind the scenes where I'm like I can just do, and I also got a new microphone. It's a Neumann. It's like a, I think that's how it's pronounced, Neumann. Microphones are really great, but it's one of the cheaper ones. It was like $600 or $700, so it was one I had in mind, since the one I was using before was like really, and it was like kind of fitting the stuff that I did before with that microphone for like the past almost decade since I had it. Yeah, I'm way behind the times when it comes to stuff like that. But yeah, like I just like the stuff like Elliott Smith or Sufjan Stevens, like, or Radiohead. I've only done, I think, one Sufjan Stevens cover on that. I think it was the John My Beloved one, where he's like, but then some of them I kind of wish I could just go all out and then just like cover every single song, like, because there's so many ones of Elliott Smith, and I was trying to do another one where it was like a distorted reality. It was like a, but that's obviously a lot better on the guitar. Yeah, he does like a. That's what I love. He's able to cram in chords that are both really, especially near his like stuff off from a basement on a hill. He's able to kind of, which is really posthumously, obviously. So, but yeah, so there's a lot of that stuff is like almost sketches too, that the engineers and stuff, that producers had to kind of find the best way to kind of. But yeah, this is me not doing it justice, but it's like he does like something I really like, which is like he goes like E to F or F sharp major in the key of B for G minor, relative minor. Right, I'm just kind of loosely throwing around terms that I kind of have in my pocket here, but yeah, it's like he doesn't do that kind of like flourished chord, or because he does this like. But he does those changes pretty quick, and it's like that's what So, and I was sort of do another one, a full Elliott Smith cover of King's Crossing, but I did do a piano version. I thought I did it a while ago, and it turns out I looked at the chords, I played the chord, or I figured out the chords, or I tried it by ear, a combination of the two, because I can't read music. So I'm usually, I go by ear and by looking at chord sheets. And so I tried like. My timing's all messed up. It's like supposed to be like 6/8. that age old. What I love is he's able to take that very simple one, the tonic to the fifth, the 2/5 minor 6 to the fourth, and then he's able to kind of what Brian Eno does in The Big Ship. The Big Ship is like, he does like this thing where it's like, he's like, there's a similar kind of two, those the four chords that the Axis of Awesome kind of commemorated into all our cultural consciences, I think. But it's like, and then he does like, I'm trying to get the tempo. But he's like, Brian Eno famously layers on like stuff, and he's like using a lot of different things. Like it sounds like it's like this accordion thing, and then it's like, but it sounds like a mixture between like organic kind of things, like a pump organ or some kind of harmonium. That's I think what it sounds like to me, at least. And then there was stuff he did, but it sounds like that. But then there's also a synth in it that kind of adds on these other layers and takes it to a whole different kind of thing. Sorry, I'm kind of getting to these answers belatedly a little bit, but yeah, the King's Crossing Spire, that one took a little, like the whole entire From a Basement on a Hill one took a little bit more time to grow on me, but there's some ones off that one the one that's like, I think it's Pretty Ugly Before. I think I did a piano cover, but I don't know if I remember the chords offhand. G major. So, something that I've been, I might as well talk maybe. So I've been just obsessed with chords that are like minor, 7th. One of the things I had lying around for a while was like this, it's like in G minor. I'm trying to do it with electric piano of one of the patches I have for Lounge. I think it's called Lounge Lizard. So it's like it does like a dominant 7th kind of thing, which also plays into diminished chords, because that something about that. I'm obviously far from the first one to do this, but this is. And then adding that G sharp major or A flat major, whichever. To get that kind of a half seventh of Something about that cluster of notes. And then playing around with just like tritone kind of things, Oh yeah, Suspirium's like that. Yeah, that one was really that was quite a I don't want to call it like a departure, but I think like Thom Yorke mentioned in an interview that it was like making spells for the movie. But yeah, the one he does from I think I covered it, but like a lot of the songs I probably forgot it. I'll like learn a song just enough to get it. It's the Unmade. Thom Yorke's where he does like a thing where it's like I think it's like. But he has his own unique way of timing and stuff. It's like impeccable to him, or unique, or just going between those two chords, like. That chord right there, a very simple E minor. I think technically it's called an 11th or something, because it's a 7th. You can do that, but there's also all sorts of composers like Ryuichi Sakamoto, who's one of my favorite composers of all time. He uses stuff like that. But I like this piano because I'm able to use a soft thing on it. And you can play like kind of just with a C. It's like a E minor 7, but it has a C in that half step. So that twin little half step modality, or whatever you want to call it, is it's all natural. It's on the key of C. But then it's like he does something. He has like other weird chords like. And then there's another one he does. It's Dawn Chorus off of his solo Anima, and that took the whole album as far as the other ones on that, where he goes pretty darn dreamy, but that one in particular is like really just he goes down and he's just like I think it's like it's in D major, so but then he starts out on this the major fourth. Something for me to do like that kind of to add in voicings that are to harmonize with that chord again, where he does like this, except in D major, he does like. He does like a walk down from. Do it all again. It's like very, but like it's just like almost like one note throughout the whole thing, like a monophony. Kind of what David Bowie does a little bit in his one of his last kind of masterpieces. He does in Black Star. Yeah, I think it's like. You never get your woman. You never get your woman. No, it's. But yeah, he does. Yeah, and then yeah, Daydreaming's another one that's great because you get all those. And I think he does like a similar kind of in Unmade. It's like a similar. I think it's. There was a really kind of blustery, low effort, half-hearted cover I did on piano. It was just, I think it was piano and then maybe one other instrument. I'm not sure. Like this is like I want to say like 8 years now. So yeah, yeah, as far as learning, I think most of it is just I don't know, I'll be kind of there's a sense of like restlessness, a slight urgency, but then there's also a lot of procrastination. It's I think I'm almost like I'm kind of a hack in some ways because I piece things together into some holistic kind of entirety. This probably sounds very fluffy, but I tend to like I'll take stuff that I'm kind of a pretty much a late bloomer when it comes to all this stuff. I recently turned 29 and I've been playing I want to say like since I was 15 or 16 with or not piano but with guitar. I started on at about 15. I think I was like looking at my brother had this really cheap electric guitar that was like a Les Paul knockoff that I was like really wanted to learn how to play, and he had it like tuned to to his left hand, even though all the strings were thing, even though he's ambidextrous I think, but yeah, he's not technically left-handed, but he just did that I guess to challenge himself. I don't know. But yeah, I think I started on that and it was like a really cheap thing, and then I was like, well. And then I started looking at chord sheets and stuff like that, or books of stuff that was like really beginner guitar stuff, and I was like looking at how tabs were made, like tablatures. So I was looking pretty much at how notes, how do you translate or how do you communicate, a chord, or even just like a series of notes or arpeggios like it. That on piano you can translated stuff that I learned from that, and but I was able to kind of piece together that the kind of stuff I learned on guitar first, like chords, and be like, well, I know that on guitar, like the G shape, and then all the open chords and stuff, and I don't even think I'm really all that good. I think I'm probably, as far as guitars, I'm probably, I think piano is more intuitive. There's less finesse, I think. Like, you can just sit down and, but you can kind of do the same thing with guitar. But guitar, I mean, obviously pianos need tune too, but like tuning is like an entirely different career kind of thing. I'm probably gonna get this one tuned pretty soon as well. But yeah, it's strange because when I sit down on a piano, it's easy to just play something like random with provided I have a framework of certain things. Knowing that not any note is just completely random, there's, I think, but there's concepts, and then piecing together stuff I know, theory, like for example, like I think the term is like what's it called? Modal interchange, I think it's called. So you can do stuff like in C. Yeah, you can play around with those, all those like nice natural sounding notes, and then do that, and then walk down from a G sharp major. I'm sure when I realized this, probably in my early 20s, I think I started playing with these things. So it was like, it took me some time to actually get beyond doing stuff on piano. That was literally. I remember the first thing I probably came up, if you would call it a song, was just like it was just something in F sharp, and it's like, and it was like the first time I heard this, the first time I got that kind of left hand down of that bass. Because my hands are, I'm not a big person. I'm like 5'7", so when I do it's like, and some people have disproportionately bigger hands or like this, but my hands aren't all that, nothing to write home about. So it's like I'm no Rachmaninoff, but I was like, something I was doing was like. I can't even remember now. Something like that. It was like 17 or so, and it was like some. I think a lot of the stuff I come up with is like a weird way of. Some of it I was like maybe lucky or unlucky enough to have the free time. Because I remember the piano. There was like an old upright kind of. Probably out of tune, kind of older piano used that's been, and then I was basically sitting down with that, trying to like figure out, because there was classes I was taking there, and it was like these two dual enrollment type of things, and back in high school, and I was like just about to like graduate high school as well, so I was like taking those just to kind of get a feel for college, and it was literally just 2 classes, so I had that took up, and I had to wait for my mother and my brother to pick me up because they were going into the city that was like a good half hour away, and then so they basically ended up picking me up like I had to sit there for like an extra like 6 or 7 hours, so I had to like beyond like just like doing homework and whatever little homework I had, there was very little to keep me busy, so I had to I was lucky enough to be able to not annoy anybody, because these were in the drama area of the school, of the community college, and then but yeah, so I just sat down and I started like thinking, And then I think it was something that was like, probably the only thing that I learned when I first sat down was like Ian Tiersen. There was that Dakota to Eric Clapton's Layla, where when you're like, it's like, maybe it wasn't C sharp. Man, it's been a while since I played that. It's the only kind of one that had a kind of a weird. And I didn't know what to call that. I didn't know that was like that's a borrowed chord or something. I didn't know what that was, and I was just like, oh. So I just like, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Of course, I don't know. But yeah, I think so I just started getting used to. I think so mine is. I guess my story is. It's not like I started out super young or was really precocious. I was not prodigious at all. I'm not like a virtuoso per se in any stretch. I don't know. But Radiohead does definitely help when because I was playing all these different kinds of things, and I was like, and then I want to say by the time A Moonshaped Pool came out, because I had only heard a couple different Radiohead songs. One of them was actually when I was like maybe 17 or 16. I remember hearing like 2 + 2 = 5. Yeah, 2 + 2 = 5, which is like it's like. So I remember hearing that and being like, "What is going on? What is that?" Like, because it was like, I could do it that, and then he was like, that's way too like I thought it was way too dissonant, and then I was like, it grew on me because it's like I think Radiohead is like, and many bands like them, Porcupine Tree or Elliott Smith or Sufjan Stevens or Joanna Newsom, they're like they grow on you like they're like a fine wine. And you take you take a sip at first and it's very bitter maybe, and then that once you get used to it, you start sensing that there's like complexities and different nuances that you're not that I was taking for granted at least. And when I was like playing that, I was like, and I was like, ooh, there's actually like a lot of really beautiful. There's beauty in that in the midst of the clashingness of certain things, and yeah, far be it from me to be someone that will do I do the occasional tutorial. I'll sit down and I'll be like, well, there's a song that I noticed that nobody else has done. I know that somebody didn't do Elliott Smith's True Love. I think they didn't do like a who's that guy? But yeah, I was like, I'm sure if you are, yeah, sorry, cashier, um, yeah, that is a similar thing. I did, actually I've heard of Radiohead, and then There was I guess my coming up with or hearing Elliott Smith for the first time is that classic kind of cliched. I heard him in Good Will Hunting, and I was like, what is that very beautiful thing? And then it was a movie that I kind of thought didn't quite age so well because just because of how maybe it's just Matt Damon's character. So like I just was so unlikable in that I can't really find myself to watch it in full again. But the music was very very beautiful. Stuff like Elliott Smith's stuff in that. I think that was like when I heard it, and probably when I was like early 20s. I think when I first finally watched that movie because kept hearing people talk about quoting it and stuff like that. And how do you like them apples? So I remember hearing that from that, and then I kind of fell in love at kind of first sound with hearing his stuff where he's. I just like the way he uses chords and stuff, like the way he's like rather than do you think he's gonna kind of go to or to it's actually so that I noticed that kind of thing. Radiohead uses that they're like so I remember hearing that. It's like that's that Neapolitan chord I've heard. Yeah, I think you hear that in Beethoven. I'm actually very bad at classical chords. I would love to just kind of sit through and relearn because I did have at least barely like 70% of that learned. nice. Yeah, thanks for joining. Yeah, I didn't know I get really any people, but yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'll try to get back to learning that, but a lot of the stuff I tend to learn, are kind of like amalgamated. Like they're just like I'll like get some strong urge to like practice and then be like fanatic for like a week or so just doing that. Like I don't even want to tell you how many hours I wanted to learn how to play that one Chopin ballade in G minor where it's like it starts out. And I can't even because like this is all like a good couple years ago. So it was like something. It was like double octaves. What did it And then it was like. No, that's what it was. Lots of chord inversions, but yeah. I found the beauty of no, I'm going to talk to myself, but yeah, the beauty of half diminished chords. Diminished chord, yeah. So yeah, I like that how that because diminished chords lead to one another, and I've noticed like it's around whether it's anything by Chopin where he's that's yeah, it was like a that's what it was, and it was like that's probably the easiest part of the whole thing is he goes like all throughout the whole board. He goes like. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do this for maybe another 10, 15 minutes, but yeah. You guys are still watching. Thank you. So yeah, I'm fascinated by the tonality of, if that's the right word, of like stuff like that. And then major 7th with a C sharp minor. Complement each other very much. And then with it. Something else I was doing too is like, I can't remember, it was like an F minor, and then it was like, instead of ending on the major tonic, I go to the relative minor, and then C is a fifth away from. But I've noticed that. See if I phrase quickly. F, if you're resolving to C, is actually a fourth away. It's actually a fifth away technically if you're doing. And I love that half step. I think it's a major fourth kind of thing. Really. It's like a very classic kind of Bond kind of what do you call it? Cadence, I guess. It's like, another one of my favorite chords, C sharp minor over A, like 2, or A major 9. That would be an E. That's one thing I do like is learning from, even if I just draw like a little bit from Chopin, doing that like, even if I learn one thing, that's good. That's a good thing. It's like that's massively helpful for me the way I time things, or the way I notes complement each other naturally, and I'm just like, oh well, I'll go off something that seems naturally. But something like I just did, like kind of, I can't remember what I just did actually. Or like, I think it was like but yeah, also another thing I was trying to say was getting used to playing in all 12 keys, so I'm able to extend what I learn, not just to one limited, I guess, and there's modes as well. Modes are, very important. Unfortunately, I don't know the names off all hands, Lydian, Mixolydian. I know Lydian is more like, I think Mixolydian would be like in E major. It would be like, it would be that 6, but I well, that's a fifth, so it'd be flat 5 technically. I forgot about that. But you could do that too. But then you could also do this. And then but I'm getting distracted here. But there's different modes, so that's mixed Lydian, and then I think Lydian will be something like or that's Dorian actually. I think Dorian, and then Phrygian is the one that goes like. It would actually wait. It's a very half tone, so I think it's like a. F to F sharp to an A to B flat. So that sounds the best for B flat, and then. Again, circle opens. As well. That sounds good. I don't know. I can't really explain what it is. That just sounds good to me. I don't know. Like half step, minor, major 7, and I guess third inversion because I don't know because it's playing in F. But you could also do D minor, but. Spacing I like doing. It's all very just spontaneous. I don't think about it, Sometimes I like keep it suspended and not ever going to that order. But yeah, so like doing stuff like half to that. This is something I have in my pocket that I just pull out, which is like it's just a cheap way of showing off that I know this. My left hand is like almost overdeveloped in this way, or rather my right hand. I think Berkman for can't really remember, but he does like a One second. Just a second. So I think it was like when I realized to my help a little bit benefit I could actually that all of these are just repeating patterns. So I was like, okay. It's been like years since I tried practicing the first time. I remember it was like during COVID, and I had a little bit of extra free time, and I was like trying to like, no, I need to learn this piece. Another one by Ravel as well, where he's like, I slept on it. Like I said, I'm horrible at classical or Baroque or Romantic, so. I think it's that. He uses that in that major, minor, or rather, yeah. You don't get it any necessarily, atonic or diatonic, anything really so far. And then he just uses very beautiful, like, he's just like. Just like I think it's like. It's like beautiful, like. Back to this. Anyway, but that's me. Oh, now I'm over an hour. Anyway, so I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you if you've made it this long. Appreciate it. But yeah, I'm gonna try to make this kind of a semi-regular thing, along with my other channel where I talk about books, where I fumble around and ramble on about that, and in very much the same manner. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.